Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Tuesday, one day away now from Arsenal returning to action in the Carabao Cup at home to Brighton at the Emirates tomorrow. I'll be there, so keep your eyes out for all the usual stuff from me at that match. I do want to talk about that game in today's video, look at who could be starting, look at some of the decisions facing Mikel Arteta, discussing if it's really that worth it. We've just been having a big debate, me and a few other Arsenal journalists in our WhatsApp group this morning, about the game and how Mikel should approach it. A few different opinions, I have to say, in that WhatsApp group. So I wanted to talk about that today. A little bit about the Brazil squad as well, some good news and some bad news for Arsenal players in that. And then a little bit at the end about Liverpool, who are up for sale, according to the fantastic David Ornstein at The Athletic. So I just wanted to talk about that as well. And what that could well mean to Arsenal. But let's start with tomorrow night's game, shall we, at the Emirates against Brighton. What to expect from that one? Personally, I think we're going to pretty much see a Europa League team for that one. I think Mikel's definitely going to change things up. He's not going to go strong, full strength, clearly, ahead of that game against Wolves at the weekend. He'll use it as an opportunity to rotate his team, to give some players some minutes. But I still think he will go pretty strong, like he has done the whole way through the Europa League. I imagine there'll be at least a couple of the Premier League regular starters involved in that game. I've got a feeling it'll probably be Saliba and Gabriel Martinelli, just because they didn't play last week. They didn't start the game last week against FC Zurich. Already forgotten that match. Not surprising, it was so rubbish. So I think those two are probably going to start for Arsenal, and then it's going to be, the sort of the Europa League side, basically your Nketiahs, your Matt Turner, who was on the bench against Chelsea. I didn't even notice that. Shows how much attention I was paying to the team sheet when it came out on Sunday. But yeah, good news that Matt Turner was back, so I imagine he's definitely going to start, and then it's your likes of Rob Holding. Cedric Suarez, I think we'll probably... honestly, I think I've predicted Cedric Suarez was going to start in every single Europa League game. He didn't start in any of them. I do think he'll start tomorrow, surely. There's no Tomiyasu. I can't imagine he's going to start Ben White. He did start the Zurich game, didn't he? I can't imagine Ben White's going to play. And so you're left with surely Cedric's going to play, going to start this one. And then you'll have Kieran Tierney, Reece Nelson probably. And of course, Eddie Nketiah will lead the line. I don't think Jesus will start this one again. He started against Zurich, so I think he'll get a rest this one. Although Mikel's desperate for him to score a goal, clearly by how much he's been playing in Risty, I think this one he'll give him the night off, or he'll certainly be on the bench anyway ahead of that game against Wolves at the weekend. Let me know what you guys think, who should be playing on Wednesday night, what sort of team selection. I mean, personally for me, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Arsenal would lose any sleep if they went out. I certainly wouldn't lose any sleep if Arsenal lost this game. I don't think it would be bad by any means. You don't want to lose matches. Obviously, you want to win every game you play, blah, blah, blah. Cliche. But the start Arsenal have got in the Premier League, what's coming up in the second half of the season, how mad the fixture schedule is going to be, I just don't think it would be a bad thing if Arsenal lost on Wednesday night. I don't want them to lose. I want them to go through. I want them to go on and win the competition. But if they did... I don't think it'd be anything to lose any sleep about or shed a tear about, put it that way. I just think it's a game, a competition, which is very much fourth when it comes to the priority list this season. Arsenal have put themselves in such a good position in the Premier League, in whether you're looking at that in terms of a title race or the push for the top four. They've got the Europa League to come in the second half of the season, knockout stages, admittedly not till March, but you got that. You got the FA Cup starting straight after in the start of the new year. You got Premier League games pretty much every week and midweek through to the end of the season once the World Cup is over. I just don't think it's going to be a bad thing if they go out the Carabao Cup. I really don't. And yes, I want them to win. Of course I do. They'll want to go the whole way and lift the trophy at Wembley, but I just don't think it'd be a bad thing. Like I said, we've been having this debate, a few of us Arsenal journalists in our WhatsApp group, and some people have been saying it should go for it and not play your strongest team by any means, but you should try and stay in it as long as you want. And it's a chance of winning a trophy, of course. But personally for me on this one, I want him to win. I think he'll go pretty strong, but if he played the kids, and if he suddenly rocked up there on Wednesday night and Matt Smith was starting, and those sort of players were playing, maybe we see Ethan Wanyeri from the bench, or players like that, I wouldn't be bothered about it. I think it'd be a good opportunity for them, and if they lose, they lose. So what? There's still loads to play for between now and the end of the season. So that's my opinion on it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Arsenal should really approach the Carabao Cup as a trophy and one to win, or do you think, like me, that it's really not that big a deal this season because of the fixture list, because of what's to come over the second half of the season, and because of the position Arsenal put themselves up to this point? Let me know, as always, in the comments below. So the Brazil squad was announced yesterday. Mixed feelings on this one. I was absolutely delighted for Gabriel Martinelli. I was at London Colney last week. A few of us, the journalists, were there for the press conference ahead of the Zurich game. We got the chance to sit down with Gabriel Martinelli and spoke to him for about 20 minutes or so. And a lot of that chat was about the World Cup and the possibility of making it. And you could just see in his face, you could hear in his voice when he talked about it, how much he wanted to make that squad. He was desperate to make it. He'd spoken before previously about when he was a kid or a teenager, his dad said to him, look, the 2022 World Cup is coming up. You'll be 21 then. You're going to make it in that squad. And it's always been a dream of Martinelli to, live up to those words that his dad said so long ago. And to do it, to achieve it, just a few years ago, he was playing in the 4th division in Brazil. His rise to prominence and stardom has been so rapid since he made that move to Arsenal. And to make this squad, in that squad, when you look at how strong it is, you look at the names that are in it, you look at the names who aren't in it. Firmino obviously didn't make it. It's a hell of an achievement from Gabriel Martinelli. And even if he doesn't get any minutes, we'll have to wait and see if he does or not. I mean, he's up against some very good players when it comes to competition to get into the starting 11 or even be one of the first picks off the bench for Brazil. So even if he doesn't get any minutes, it's still a fantastic achievement for him. It's going to, there's plenty more World Cups that Gabriel Martinelli's going to play in, but just to be in that squad, to make it, is great for him. And I know how happy he will be from that. So I was delighted for him. I was delighted for Gabriel Jesus as well. There's been a lot of talk about will he make it, won't he? He obviously didn't make the squad for the last warm-up games, which caused a lot of surprise given the way it started the season for Arsenal. There was always talk that the reason he hadn't made the squad was because his place was assured, and the Brazil coach TT just wanted to have a look at other players. It's proved to be the case because Gabriel Jesus has made it and he absolutely deserves it. I mean, it would have been crazy not to play Jesus or not to have taken Jesus. I know he hasn't scored for a while, but wow, the way he's playing, the way he's performing, if you're not taking Jesus, you need your head checked, surely. So he made it, but Gabriel didn't. He missed out when it comes to the centre-backs, and I thought that was a shame. I don't pretend to be an expert on the other Brazilian centre-backs. Obviously, players like Thiago Silva made it, but I just wonder. I think if you, I don't think there's another left-sided centre-back in that squad for Brazil, and I think it's a real shame that he hasn't made it. I think he deserves it. Yes, he's made a couple of errors this season that have been highly publicised, but his performances on the whole have been absolutely excellent. He was monstrous, just like Saliba was against Chelsea at the weekend. He offers you so much. He's good on the ball. He's left-footed, obviously, so he brings that balance to the defence. He pops up in the other penalty area from set pieces and scores crucial goals. And I just think he probably would deserve to go, but he didn't. And like I said, I'm no expert on the Brazil squad and certainly the defensive players in that squad. So I'm sure TT's got his views of why he didn't choose Gabriel, but I just think it's a mistake. But having said that, again, he's still young, and I think if he keeps doing what he is doing, keeps playing the way he has been for Arsenal, and keeps progressing the way he has been progressing since he made the move to England, Gabriel's going to make it into the plenty of tournaments between now and the end of his career. So that will come, but I know it'll be a shame for him. He'll have looked at Jesus and Martinelli making it, and he'll have to stay behind, and he'll be disappointed. It means everything to Brazilian players to play for Brazil, and especially at a World Cup. So I know he'll be absolutely gutted over that. But hopefully he can put that behind him, have a really good performance at the weekend against Wolves, and then go away with Arsenal during the break and keep himself in tip-top shape and come back ready to make a massive impact in the second half of the season, which Arsenal absolutely need him for. So those are my thoughts on Brazil squad. What do you guys think? How happy are you for all the players who have made it into the Brazil squad? Do you, like me, think it's a shame Gabriel didn't make it? Anything you've heard, disagreed with, agreed with in this video, please, as always, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so Liverpool for sale. Big news over here in England right now. Big news around the world. Liverpool, obviously a global super club. And they are for sale, according to David Ornstein, The Athletic, who broke the story yesterday. Soon after that story, Liverpool's owners, FSG, released a statement stopping short of actually saying they were for sale, but saying they would welcome any new shareholders, if they were the right people for the club. They kind of reaffirmed their how they were still very much loyal to Liverpool and their commitment to Liverpool, but they didn't deny that they were for sale. And David is very, very good. You all know David Ornstein, and he was spot on, and he says they very much are for sale, and the two big banks are sort of scouring the market at the moment for possible people. So what does this mean for Arsenal? We've seen Chelsea change hands recently, going from Abramovich to their new ownership model that they have now, heavily backed by American investors. Liverpool obviously backed by American investors, but kind of run to the similar model that Arsenal do. You've obviously got the super rich clubs in terms of competition in the Premier League, with the state backing, who are just on another level. And so as an Arsenal fan, I'm sure you're probably thinking, oh no, if Liverpool get taken over by one of those sort of ownership models, then how it's just another club that's going to be impossible to compete against. Whether there is another state that want to come in and take over Liverpool remains to be seen. Whether Liverpool would welcome that, again, remains to be seen. Their fan base is hugely voiceful. Certainly their English-based fan base and local fan base are always sort of leading the way against that sort of ownership model. So it'd be interesting to see their reaction if someone like that did come into the reckoning. You'd think it's probably going to be another American-backed investment company. If they do sell, it might well change hands to similar to what we've seen at Chelsea. And for Arsenal, I don't think it's going to change too much, just because I can't see it being another state-owned club. So if it does transfer from FSG to another American-based investor model, then I don't think it's going to change too much. It's certainly something that's going to keep an eye on. I mean, David Ornstein says that there's nothing imminent by any mean, and Neil Jones, who's fantastic, our Liverpool goal correspondent, says similar. So we'll have to wait and see on it. But I don't think, from an Arsenal point of view, it's anything majorly to worry about. It's just like Chelsea. Now I look at their model. Yes, they spent an awful lot of money this summer. Will they be able to continue to do that? I'm not so sure. I think moving from the Abramovich model to this current model, I think is probably a good thing for Arsenal. When it comes to Chelsea, I think it's going to allow them to compete financially a lot more with them. And I think it'd probably be similar with with Liverpool, sorry. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it, but let me know what you guys think on it. I mean, everyone always looks at this and sees this happen and think, could the Kroenkes do similar? For me, I can't see it. I think the Kroenkes, everyone that you talk to at Arsenal, continue to say that they are absolutely committed fully to Arsenal. They won't even entertain the prospect of selling. They've only just taken full ownership of the club in the last few years after the whole Usmanov battle, and they're very happy with how things are going. And understandably so, I suppose, when you look at what's going on at the pitch at the moment, not just at senior level, but in under 21s level. They're top of the table. The women's team are top of the table. Arsenal are top of the Premier League. They're top of the Europa League group. I mean, it's all looking very good for Arsenal at the moment. So why would the Kroenkes entertain selling? So I think they're certainly staying put for now, but interesting times at Liverpool. And going to be intriguing to see exactly how that plays out over the next year, 2 years possibly, as FSG do look to move the club on. Let me know what you guys think about anything you've heard or seen in this video. Who should start tomorrow night? Who shouldn't start? Who should Mikel give the night off? And who should he be playing? FSG, Liverpool, anything like that, and Brazil, of course, or anything ahead of the World Cup, let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please do enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I'll speak to you very soon.